Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know the drill. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below. Alrighty, I'm back in Chicagoland. Much needed vacation. Alrighty, so I wanted to touch base on Olympic sports cards. I did a video last week and a lot of people commented on something I didn't even think people would comment on. And I was talking about Olympic sports cards. And people were saying, hey man, like, what's the point of investing in Olympic sports cards? They've gone woke. And I'm going to be talking about Olympics going woke probably tomorrow. And yeah, that's not good for the ratings. It's not good for NBC. But in terms of sports cards, that's a whole different ballgame. So I'm going to look at a few individuals and I'm just going to comment on them. And I've talked about these cards in the past. I've shown you this, Simone Biles, 2016. It's an auto, PSA 9, and the auto was a PSA 10. And this pop size was, I think, 1. I don't know if there's one card that's a little higher than that. I think there's a BGS 10 and a 10. Autograph 10, card was a 10. So there's a card that is higher than that. I don't know what the value was, but it sold on eBay last week. So despite Simone Biles saying she had mental health issues, her cards were still selling. Granted, they dramatically fell off for the ones that were commons. So if you saw cards like this that weren't autographed, those cards went down. But anything autographed that was scarce, those seem to be selling well. I saw an auto card that was authenticated by PSA. It sold at $4.99, I think the last day or so. And for me, I remember last December, I was buying some of these cards ungraded for 75 bucks, and I was able to sell them much higher than that. I kept one of them and I graded them because I thought this was the best graded card. And despite Simone Biles only getting a bronze, despite she, as many people say, quitting on her team, she still is the GOAT, regardless of whatever personal opinions people may have on her. At the moment, she is the GOAT. So, despite she having negative publicity right now, the reality is any scarce cards of Biles in the Olympics coming in the next 3 years or the next 7 years, in my opinion, these cards will still hold up, assuming that they are scarce and there will continue to be high demand. Ultimately, there are people with big pockets. A lot of them happen to be athletes. They will probably be supportive of Biles. And despite middle-class America not liking what Biles did, the celebrities still have her back. And I think you'll see people still pouring into this in the coming years. Now, I sold about 3/4 of my Biles cards. I kept a few because I was like, okay, this is going to be a long-term hold. And I don't care if this card value goes down in half or all these Biles cards collapse for the next 2.5 years. Ultimately, you'll still see demand, in my opinion. Another individual that I think will still hold value. I didn't sell any of his cards. His name is Caleb Dressel. I bought 5 of these magazines. And a lot of these cards, these are Sports Illustrated for kids. I bought like 5 magazines on Amazon for about under 10 bucks. And sure, I may be able to scoop up quite a bit in the next 2.5 years. But ultimately, Caleb Dressel, he won 5 gold medals. There was one race that was mixed between males and females. One of the swimmers, her goggles came off. And I'm like, what? Who has their goggles come off while they're swimming? I've never had that happen before. I used to swim for a year on swim team in high school, but I never had that. I never remember a teammate having that same issue. So, yeah, Caleb Dressel cards may have gone down in the past day or so, but ultimately, I'm looking at it from a long-term hold. I did some of the quick flips, like I said, with Simone Biles, but some of these Sports Illustrated for kids cards that are not graded, I'm going to probably be keeping the next individual, I bought a whole bunch of these Ledecky cards. I bought it for maybe $3 in a sleeve like this. And you see Katie Ledecky. She won, I think, 2 gold and 2 silver from my memory. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. I'm just going off the top of my head. And Ledecky is on pace to becoming the GOAT in her sport. She has hinted that she's going to swim in 2024 and also in 2028. So if she does that, she could be the Simone Biles of her sport. Now, I don't think Ledecky is going to quit like Simone Biles did, but at the same time, Ledecky is probably going to be up there in terms of female sports, in terms of swimming, especially. Now, people may be saying, like, okay, look, Olympic cards, they're cyclical, and what's the point of holding onto these? Well, I'm a long-term guy in some cards. There's some cards that I flip. A lot of people I noticed are flippers. I'm really a mix between that. I like flipping stocks. I like flipping options. That's where I'm very aggressive. Here, I'm patient. And I bought some of these cards 2 years ago. I still have them locked up. I am starting to sell a bit here and there just to get, the cash rolling in before this whole market collapses. But yeah, the same thing I'm going to be doing in the off season for the Olympics. I'm going to be buying a bunch of these Dressel cards, Ledeckys. And yeah, they may be injured. If they get injured, then I'm out of luck. But I'm not putting thousands and thousands of dollars into these. Like I told you, I bought some of these Ledecky for like $3. I bought a boatload of them. I negotiated with some of the sellers. And sure, should I have sold a few right before? I could have. But here's the deal with these cards. These Sports Illustrated for Kids cards. PSA grades them really tough. It's hard to cut them. I saw some people commenting down below that, hey, there's a specific way to cut these cards. I get that. I just don't want to deal with it because I've had cards I've sent to PSA and it's come back to me and I've wasted a few $100 on that. Some Usain Bolt cards that I sold. Regardless, I'm still going to be looking at that. I may be looking into some Chloe Kim cards. You have to remember there's a Beijing Olympics in, I think, February of next year. So I may sell some of her autos. Who knows what her autos will sell for. I'm not sure if she's exactly the GOAT, but she has a pretty good resume in terms of what she's accomplished at such a young age. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. You think I'm still wrong on Olympic cards? You still think the wokeness is going to prevent people from getting in here? It could. But ultimately, there will be celebrities getting into this. And like I said, I'm not looking at all of these cards to flip. I may be waiting a decade to sell some of these. Maybe in 2028, I may unload the Simone Biles cards. And who knows what the price value will be at that time. And like I said, I only bought this card for $75, sent it to PSA for grading. So, yes, maybe $50. If I'm looking at it, maybe $150 total. And this probably would go for at least $700, $800. I had a similar Michael Phelps card that I bought for $500, something like that on Probstein. And through 4 Sharp Corners, it was a scarce card. People bid it up to $1,500 right before the Olympics. So it worked out well for me. So people say, yeah, you can't make money off of Olympics. Technically you can. If you're flipping, you need to buy when no one else is looking and then just start selling a little before the Olympics and you should be fine with it. But I'm holding for a longer period of time compared to others based on, some of these Sports Illustrated for Kids cards. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below, guys. Thanks. Talk to you later.